Hi, welcome to Baby Narc. These narcissists are crazy makers. In fact, back in my day, before any of us knew what a narcissist was, I always thought a narcissist was just somebody who thought they looked good or something. I had no idea. Yeah, back in my day, we called them crazy makers because that's what these people do, is they make us crazy. Crazy. Their word salad, which that's another narcissist term. I mean, it really is. It is just absolute. Well, they have so much chaos inside of their own mind that, I mean, I guess it just spills over into, any kind of communication they have with anybody else. But still, I always tell you that narcissists don't do anything by accident. It is all on purpose. It is well thought out, I mean, in their sick sort of way, they just, they're so used to manipulating. You know, I think that, what's that? You need to know your enemy. I, I think that for Brian, at least, he, I guess his whole life has gotten it into his head that he has to manipulate people in order to get what he wants, in order to survive, maybe. And it's the funniest thing because I don't think that he was abused as a kid. Now, yes, his dad's weird and his mom's a narcissist, and she's got Asperger's, and she doesn't know how to show love, and she does yell a lot, and she bitches about everything, and she's cuckoo, and she was upset when I knew her as a teenager. She was absolutely obsessed with soap operas. I mean, it was even back then I thought it was weird. All of our moms were obsessed with soap operas, but this was something different. It was weird. And then his sisters got weird. His sisters at one point, I guess in our 20s, they started chasing after a local basketball team and wrestlers. And the one sister who was, well, they're both weird. The one sister is almost like a non-person. What's that? Non-player character, NPC? She has no personality whatsoever. I mean, none. It's weird. It's weird. Even back then, I was like, what? And all of our friends, we were always kind of like, that family's weird. Brian always seemed like the normal one, you know? Then the other sister, she did two weird things. When we were still teenagers, she thought that a guy that she had a crush on had gotten her pregnant. And so all of us were like, oh my God, what are you going to do, We found out, and she was shopping for baby clothes. Yeah, every time we'd go to the mall, because that's what we did, she'd be shopping for baby clothes. It was very weird. Come to find out, they'd never slept together. They'd never been on a date, nothing. He didn't like her. It's weird, right? When you're a teenager, teenagers do some strange shit. I mean, myself included. I could tell you some stories and be like, what? But still, it was outlandish. Then, in our 20s, when they kind of separated from me, I kind of went my own way. I kind of separated myself from the whole family. I was smart back then, no. It was just I had better, oh, that was mean. I had better friends. So, the two sisters who were best friends even to this day, and that's another weird thing too. I mean, it's great to be best friends with your sister, but it's almost like they're each other's only friends. It's also weird, and they're not twins or anything. Like, it's weird, but when they were chasing after these sports figures, I think at one point I got wind from some other people that one of the sisters was going to marry this sports figure, and right when the person said it to me, I was like, what? I bet she's never even met him. Yeah, coming to find out, I think he'd signed an autograph or something. So now I get why Brian does the weird shit that he does. Now, the cool thing about Brian, and this is fact, I absolutely know this to be fact, he really did get into these bands. I mean, he was in a lot of bands. He was always in a band, but he was in three successful ones. I mean, they even put out a couple of albums. I mean, it's for real. And I mean, it's local stuff, whatever. But no, he really was a locally famous musician. I mean, that is fact. But still, his weird obsession with celebrities and stalking women online, and I mean, I know guys do that, especially shitty guys will do that, but it's something else. It's another weird mental thing for him. Okay, so back to the word salad that happened yesterday. um Against my better judgment, I have been interacting with this fool. I still haven't seen him though. So he this whole past week that we've been talking, he told me that one of his ex singers of an ex band, actually one of the most famous bands that he was in, um, had, I don't know if this was an ex wife or an ex girlfriend, but nevertheless, he informed Brian that this chick is like dying from cancer. So the very first thing I did right after I got off the phone with Brian, him telling me that story, first thing I did, I prayed for her. Nobody nobody told me to. Like, I don't have to know you and love you and interact with you for me to pray for you. I just immediately did. I was like, oh my God, cancer. And I mean, that's, I know, I know treatments are getting better these days, and, everyone has more of a chance to, overcome it. But still, that is a life threatening disease. So I prayed for him. So, but I didn't tell him. I mean, not because, oh, you're not supposed to tell people when you do good things, but no, me praying for her was just what I do. And I mean, I didn't tell him when I took a shit, so that's the same thing to me. Like, I just pray for people. It's no big deal, we're all supposed to do that, or even if you don't believe religiously, every one of us is supposed to think good things and wish good things upon other people, especially if they're going through something bad. Okay, so that was about a week ago when we kind of started talking. Started fucking with me again, is what I should call it. So last night he said, hey, I wrote a song for that girl and I want to run it by you and see what you think. And I was like, cool. So he says, he says, I think you'll like it because it's one of the most positive songs I've ever written. Because, he writes everything about negativity, death, destruction, loss of love, nobody loves me, everyone's out to get me kind of songs. Catchy tunes, though. So he sends me the song, and I mean, I wouldn't say it was the most, butterflies and rainbows kind of thing, but it was the music itself was a little bit more upbeat because he has very dark, heavy rock, riffs and chord progressions that are, very, very heavy, very, very negative kind of, although that's what's popular. This was more upbeat, and the lyrics were, it was kind of, along the lines of everything's going to be okay. So I immediately watch it and immediately get back to him, and I was like, yeah, I said, wow, yeah, that's great. I really love it, and it's very positive, and I think that's really great that you would send, that you would write the song for her. So he texts me back. He's like, did you even, no, yeah, a voicemail, so I could hear him, like a little voice blurb. So he's like, did you even read, or did you even listen to the lyrics? And I'm like, what? Yes. He's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's positive. Now listen, you just said to me, before you even sent the song, this is one of the most positive things I've ever written. And then I listened to it, and it's technically, yeah, it is one of the more positive things you've written, because you write nothing but dark shit. And I'm saying that, and now you're trying to word salad me, twist what I said. Oh my God. You can't win with these people. You can't. They want, what they do, once again, you gotta know your enemy. What they're always trying to do is get a reaction out of people. Whether that's just attention, to listen to them, or to have an argument, or to make you feel bad, or to put a bad look on your face, or bring down your energy. Any kind of reaction that they can get, that they can see it, is what they're striving for. So all of the arguments and word salad and twisting things, and the lies and the manipulation and the lies about the lies about the lies and the lie that they didn't lie, all of this absolute crazy talk. The bottom line is to fuck with our heads so that they can get some sort of reaction. My reaction of being like, oh, well, that's really great. And then, of course, it wasn't over the top, so maybe that's why he did it. It wasn't like, oh, my God, this is the best thing ever. You should win a Grammy, Maybe because it was pretty low key, how I was like, oh, yeah, it sounds really positive, and I think that's really great that you would write a song for her. Maybe that wasn't enough. Maybe that wasn't enough energy to give to him. So he was like, well, fuck you. I'm going to, twist this whole thing. So, I'll tell you something else. I always tell you that everybody in Brian's life is a complete and total dirtbag. So he also informs me, before he had sent the song, I guess we had talked about he was working on the song, and then later on he sent me a song. So while he was working on the song, he says to me, yeah, Alex, that was his ex-lead singer in this ex-band, he beat the shit out of, her name is Brittany, he beat the shit out of Brittany and put her in the hospital way back in the day. What? And I'll tell you what, Alex isn't the only one in Brian's life who's a woman beater. I've always said to you and to myself, oh, well, Brian's never put his hands on me, he's never shoved me, he's never thrown anything at me. But, I don't see him that much. 5 years of interacting with him in this addiction ship, I would say if you wanted to gather up every moment spent together, I bet it'd be a solid 6 months. It's all been on the phone. All on the phone. So if I was in his presence for 5 years, would he hit me? How many times would he have hit me? How many times have he had shoved me, knocked me down, pushed me into a wall, thrown some shit at my head, fucked up my stuff, out of a rage, Well, one night we were in his garage, and, he was, see, the thing is it's not just when he's on drugs, it's the come down. Honestly, when he's on the drugs, in the beginning, the first couple of days, he's actually really in a good mood. Then he continues to do the drugs, and then not eating, not sleeping, not drinking water, just being crazy. Then the anger and the paranoia set in. Then when even if he's continuing to still be on the drugs, it's already still, that element is still there. It's like the drugs can't combat that. Then when he gets off the drugs and starts to sober up, at least for a week, if he stays sober a solid week, man, he's a raging lunatic, man. He's got some violence in him that is scary. Scares me. I had a violent alcoholic father, and it's the same element. Now, if he can get past that week, which he's done a handful of times, where he actually gets over that hump of that horrific week, then he will start to, sober up for real and become the man that I'm in love with. But, that week is so hardcore. I guess this is the addiction. That week is so hardcore that most times he can't get through it, and then he gets more drugs. So, it's sad, it's sick. And I tell you another thing, I'm convinced that all narcissists are addicts. Now, I'm not saying all addicts are narcissists, but I'm saying that narcissism, it's obsession. That's part of it. If you notice the word salad and the cycles and all of these things are very repetitive, and it's because they are obsessed. And then of course the reason why they hoover us is because they're obsessed with us. It's all about obsession. And so I believe that most, if not all, narcissists are some sort of an addict. Now, I know you can get addicted to anything, food, shopping, gambling, playing video games or whatever, but I think it's a chemical addiction that they have to have. I don't think just a regular shopping addiction would give them that rush of endorphins or whatever, those pleasure receptors in your brain. I don't think it would be enough. And I've said this in another video. I think that, it's some sort of a chemical, alcohol, drugs, whatever. So anyway, so back to the fact that, Brian, this Alex guy is not the only guy in Brian's life that beats women, So we were in his garage one night, and he was kind of in that interim of, I don't think he had done any hardcore drugs in maybe like 1 or 2 days max. So he was starting that, violent cycle. But we're getting along. We're in the garage. He's singing to me, Then all of a sudden he starts like dancing around and being kind of like flailing his arms and being all kind of like violent. And then he grabs so the microphone was on a stand, and he grabs the mic and then the stand of it, and he's trying to pull the mic off of it. But, it has like a little hook, that's how it holds in there. And so he can't quite get it because he's manic. And he just fucking yanks the thing, he breaks the mic stand. He didn't break the mic, which is good because, sorry. Oh, goodness. Okay, don't talk there. Oh, dude, come on. Okay, I'm going to have to end this video. But just real quick, he didn't break the microphone, thank goodness, because they're expensive. But he broke the mic stand, just ripping it apart. So, that violence, it's just such a mess. Get away from that narcissist. And maybe FedEx will, and a motorcycle too. Oh, that's great. It's very active here. Maybe FedEx is dropping off my new boyfriend. I hope so. Or maybe the FedEx driver is my new boyfriend. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.